please do look at the top center anytime you want to find out latest Fukushima updates right at the top center. I include a lot of different types of material there. And on the right column is a total archive going back 4.5 years. So it's all there for you. And every Monday, the third hour, we try to bring you the latest. Jim is on it. That's great you did a 2-hour program. It's so important. You go up to somebody on the street, Preston, an average person, an adult, you say, do you know what the latest on Fukushima is? And 90% of them will say, Fuku what? They don't know. They know nothing.
Over the years, I've done 4 or 5 of these 2-hour shows, Jeff, maybe even more.
Good.
But I did recently up the ante. I had a 2-hour show a couple of weeks ago, and then I felt that wasn't sufficiently detailed and precise, so I brought in Dennis to do more quantification in terms of the analysis, which...
Great.
But it's just so devastating.
It's horrible.
Well, let me ask you this: is this a potential extinction level event?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're totally there, Preston. Totally. Not a total extinction, but when you imagine a chain. A chain is made of links, and when the links start to disappear, it only takes the loss of one link, and you no longer have a chain. All right, we've lost many links. And so we have a pile of links on the ground that are no longer in a cohesive fashion stuck together like a chain. So the chain has been irrevocably broken. And your answer, yes, extinction level events are actually going on right now. They can't find any herring in the Pacific Ocean. They're gone. They're just gone.
It has to do with the chain of life, because higher species feed on lower and lower and lower.
Exactly.
And eventually you get down to algae and plankton. But even the algae and plankton are being destroyed. I mean, everything at a higher level is destined for extinction once you have annihilated any level at the Great Chain.
You're correct. You're correct. All right, we have to do a little shorty here. We'll come back in just a couple minutes. Okay, and we're back with Preston James and Professor James Fetzer. This upcoming Olympics competition in Japan is insanity. They are going to hold much of that right in Tokyo Bay, where they've been dumping all of this ash from their municipal incinerators, dumping other waste. The radioactivity there is unacceptably high, to put it mildly. Yoichi's been over there. He's tested it. He's gone around and around. He said it's ludicrous. It's absurd. The athletes are going to get sick. Some are going to die. Not necessarily at the games, but they're going to pick up the radionuclide inhalation. They're going to eat the food. Count on it. Japanese food is wonderful. Don't worry. We feed you. You'll be very happy. Meanwhile, Shinzo Abe may or may not be around for the Olympics. They say he is bleeding from every orifice now.
Oh, God. And imagine, recently they were worried about E. coli in Rio de Janeiro. I mean, compare the E. coli threat with the radionuclides. I mean, it's astounding, Jeff, that they would even think of doing this. I mean, let's talk about an ostrich policy.
Well, it's part of the denial. It's part of the whole denial thing.
It's completely insane. It's completely insane.
Part of
you have
the
American government not even talking about it and raising the levels of acceptable exposure to radioactivity. I mean, you know, who is responsible? I mean, it's like all of our leaders have abdicated every moral principle, every legal obligation to the citizens they lead. It's ridiculous.
Preston, go ahead.
Well, the bottom line is we have an establishment that's in control. The word establish is exactly what they're doing. They have the power to establish any policy they want. So you have a handful or less, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 top policy makers. We all know who they are. We don't need to mention their names and bring extra heat right now. But these top policy makers, they get some little thought in their head, gee, I want to set this new policy up for Homeland Security. For example, if there's a car accident and someone's killed, they have a new policy where they block off the highway on both sides for the afternoon for a complete investigation. Because basically they want to screw the average
That's true. Consumer. They could move that stuff out of the way and carry on their investigation without doing that. Just slow everyone down, keep the traffic moving. No, they stop it. Oh, yeah.
That came from one person, one top policymaker, because everything's organized in a big hierarchy with one or two guys at the top. They make an edict that goes down. Every police chief, jumps on the bandwagon. Homeland Security. This is just the way we do things.
Yeah.
And, like if somebody moves while you tell them to stand still with your gun on them, you shoot them. Doesn't matter in the front, the back, whatever. That's a new policy.
They do not have a shoot to wound policy and haven't for years. It's a shoot to kill. Right. Dead witnesses don't make very good appearances in court. That's the truth. Kill them.
But you empty your Glock. Boom, 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 boom.
Did you see that poor guy that came out of the house? People get in arguments. So the wife calls 911. My husband's yelling at me. He's threatening. That. So the cops come. The guy comes out in front of his house. Did you see the video? The second video showed up today.
I saw it.
Yeah, the guy has his hands up in the air, straight over his head. They just executed him.
Yeah.
Simple. No mistake. They executed him on the spot. Because they know they're not going to be held accountable. Very rarely do you see a cop get charged with murder. It just doesn't happen. Administrative leave with pay. Full investigation has found the officer felt his life was in danger. Yeah, this guy's hands, he's got no shirt on. No visible. He's got a pair of shorts on. His hands are over his head, and he posed a threat to their life and wellness. Good God. Yeah.
Here's the very worst part of all this, Jeff, is the police are being set up. They've been mind controlled through their radios.
Where have they been trained? Where have their chiefs been trained?
Israeli anti-terror forces. But here's the key. Now you have covert operators. Some of them are trained in Israel, Mossad agents. Some of them are FBI Division 5. They're going out and they're sniping police. They're going to kill police to try to start a civil war. Then, of course, they can, only the government can solve such a big problem. Institute draconian UN gun laws. It's pretty sick when you have covert operators going around and shooting, and the police that they're shooting are the good guys too. They're not shooting the bad guys that have 13 to 15 kills under their belt. They're going for the family guy with 4 kids, and they're going to take him out. They're going to shoot him in the back. You're going to see all kinds of these covert operator assassinations in the next year. All kinds of them. And I predicted this a couple of years ago, Professor Fetzer, as you remember.
Oh, I know. You've been right on, Preston. It's been uncanny.
So these police have been set up. I feel sorry for them because
they're going to be sacrificed. They sacrifice anybody. They don't care.
No, they don't. But Jeff, the ability to control the public consciousness through the control of the major mass media. It's a news cartel run by 6 kingpins who all work for a large investment firm. We won't mention the name, but most people know. And when you have a hierarchy of news control with 1 or 2 key people setting the talking points and the policies every day. This has been a total mind control program for over 50 years. And it really started with the advent of the Federal Reserve, where they could print all the money they wanted and buy up everybody and control everybody. And now we have a Congress where everybody except for one member of Congress, Walter Jones, a black congressman, is the only one that didn't sign the AIPAC loyalty oath to Israel. Everybody else signed it. Cynthia McKinney refused to sign it, and look what happened to her. Beam me up, Scotty. Traficant refused to sign it. Who's the other guy that was just lost? Kucinich refused to sign it. So anybody that refused to sign it.
Did Kucinich die?
No, but he refused to sign it.
Got boxed out of Congress.
I got it.
But of course, Cynthia McKinney was the first one that dared talk about it publicly.
Yeah.
Traficant, many believe that the Mossad murdered him.
Well, that was a bizarre accident in a barn. A tractor fell on him or something. No. I mean, come on. John Deere tractors or any tractor, they don't jump on people. We have
Congress right now, sadly, is functioning as a foreign embassy for Israel and for the Rothschild, Khazarian banksters.
That's perfectly said and very important for people to remember. Congress is functioning as an agent of Israel.
Until that
exactly
changes,
what they're told.
Until that changes, we're going to have all these wars. We're going to have all these dead and wounded Americans and millions of innocent people knocked out of their homes and blown to pieces. It has this Rothschild, Khazarian mafia, bankster, Israeli war machine. It has to stop. And we got to rout these Israeli-American, Israeli-first dual citizens out of our government. We got to deport them all back to. They love Israel so much. Good. They have to either reject their citizenship to Israel. They can never hold political office again. I say the people involved either jail the ones involved in 9/11, the rest of them deport them all. If they love it so much, take off back to your home.
It's practically miraculous that we have 34 Democratic senators who are going to stand up for the Iran deal because the merits of the Iran deal are overwhelming, but the furiousness of the opposition that's inspired by Israel because it doesn't want to have Iran exerting more influence to dispute its control of the Middle East, which it aspires to dominate from the Tigris, Euphrates to the Nile, is simply overwhelming. I mean, television, we're still seeing one bizarre, misleading attack on the Iran deal. The picture of the Ayatollah Khamenei, who's supposed to be, out to build nukes. Iran doesn't even want nukes. Their policy is nuclear energy for all, right. Nuclear weapons for none. And that is their policy.
Going to stay that way, too. Some of the new levels of safe radioactivity in our drinking water are up to 100,000 times higher than they were. This is iodine-131, for example, and there are hundreds of nuclides.
Did the EPA set those?
Yeah.
Well, they revised them, Jim. They
put them
up and up and up.
That's criminal negligence, isn't it?
No, it's genocide. Here's a story. Let's see. Hold on. The EPA maintains a set of so-called Protective Action Guides, PAGs. These PAGs are being quickly revised upwards to radically increase the allowable levels of iodine-131, for example, a radioactive isotope, to anywhere from 3,000 to 100,000 times the currently allowable so-called safe level of exposure in your drinking water. All right?
Everybody better be taking iodine then, if it's going to, that's the first place it goes is your thyroid, isn't it?
Yep. They don't worry so much about it because it has a 32-day half-life or something, so in what, 6 months it's gone.